Jag är Riikka, jag kommer från Valonia och jag ska fortsätta på engelska. Jag tror att det är lättare för ni och jag också att fortsätta, men också vi har en gäst från Skottland och jag är nöjd att hon ska förstå någonting. Okay, so I will continue in English, so maybe your translator is having a break in the meantime. Yeah. Okay, so I will give a small insight on the circular economy work in the regional level. And I was very inspired by the presentation that was given from the island of Bute, and I noticed that actually these issues that I'm talking about go very much along with what you have done on a concrete level. And also when I'm talking about circular economy and what can be done in the archipelago, I see a lot of those examples already taking place at your island, and very intrigued by it. It's difficult to have it there. Okay. So circular economy, maybe the core point of my speech is that we are not talking about also about waste issues. We are not talking about also only about waste management issues, but it's something more and something wider. It's a completely new, novel economic model. But then again, since it's regenerative and restorative by design, it means also that that we are kind of returning back to the days where we think of resources that are near and that are used near, and that nothing is wasted. But then again, through the modern technology comes new opportunities to use those resources more on an intelligent way. So the core of circular economy is to aim to keep the products and materials at their highest utility and value. It's a systematic change, meaning that it needs to cross through the whole society and all activities. If we think about the value chain of any product or any activity, circular economy needs to look at all these parts of the value chain. Of the primary sector, how the material is processed, how it's manufactured, how it's distributed, how is the retail system, what happens between companies, what about when it goes to consumer, how it's used, and how it can return to the primary sector, and so that the value keeps going. So that in all these parts, it is considered how we can design, how we can plan so that the material and the resources and the value doesn't get lost on its way. So it needs to cut through the whole society, and therefore everyone and everything needs to be considered through the idea that how we can plan, how can we can design all these activities, legislation, all actors, schools, companies, workplaces. In all activities, we need to link all the themes to all activities. How we look at what we eat, the mobility and logistics of the activity or the product, and so on. So it cuts through all the activities and all the sectors, and it needs to have the wide perspective. Okay, so that was about the kind of the core idea of circular economy. So why are we talking about the regional perspective? First of all, Southwest Finland got its own circular economy roadmap in 2017. I was in kind of leading the process of the roadmap, but with a very wide cooperation, and the potential growth that is kind of the one reason why circular economy as a concept has been more successful than maybe some other concept talking about the same issues is that it has the economy point of view very strongly part of it. And there is a clear potential growth linked to the circular economy. If we only think about, talk about environmental issues, like from the presentation of from the Butte Island, also it's clear that it's not so successful. It's not maybe even possible if we forget the economic point of view. But in Southwest Finland, we decided to draw a roadmap for circular economy so that we could see the strengths and the challenges that we face in Southwest Finland. Because the potential growth is clearly linked to the local and regional strengths and conditions. Also, circular economy brings new, it restores to the discussion also the concept of self-sufficiency, and it is quite interesting. Also, it's kind of a concept that has not been discussed so much when the globalization hit hard to all activities. But now we are talking about self-sufficiency. How could we produce energy from in the region so that we would not be dependent on the global energy markets and so on? But also, the added value is found when the side streams are being utilized within the near distance, meaning that the smartest ways and the most cost-efficient ways of using side streams from other companies, other productions, for example, it's the most cost-efficient when it's used near. So that's why a lot of companies think about the kind of ecosystems of different sectors, companies from different sectors working close together so that they could maybe utilize the side streams from each other. And also, circular economy is linked to the multipolar competitiveness, so that, well, in Finland we all know the example of the Nokia company, the one big company that everyone were relying on, and even after the crash of that company, people were seeking for the new Nokia, for the new success story. But then again, it's more and more clear that there will not be one single success story, and no economy can count on one single company or one single sector. It needs to be based on competitiveness that is based on different types of strong branches. And then again, the regional perspective comes from the fact that usually those success stories that spread, they need to start from somewhere. And for example, municipalities, still, even the small municipalities are in a very important place to give an arena, give a kind of a platform for new companies and new solutions to test and to build upon. And all good ideas need the test bed, and on a regional perspective, we need to find those potential platforms. And of course, the local potential need to be identified, so that we know in Southwest Finland what are the strengths and what are the challenges in our area. So the focus areas, I don't go through to the regional roadmap as such, but the focus areas give an insight to the kind of vast perspective that we have. And this roadmap is produced in cooperation with the national roadmap for circular economy that has the same type of focus areas. And the cross-cutting themes that link to all these areas are the servicing, building new service models, and I think that we are hearing a presentation about the business models linking to circular economy, and I'm looking forward to it. But also public procurement is a very important cross-cutting point of view or theme, because it is exactly that platform that can be presented for companies to come up with new solutions. And here again, that the same kind of the value chain and different types of values that can be drawn from the value chain through different solutions. So it's not only the self-sufficiency, it's not only the new products linking to nutrients, for example, but it is also new digital innovations. It's about the competitiveness of the region as a whole. And of course, the reduction of environmental impacts. That's the whole core of the activities. So, the archipelago, what it can mean. There's a lot of good examples and concrete examples already been brought up today. All in all, an island or the archipelago, it's a kind of an intriguing platform for solutions. There are a lot of, at the moment, there are a lot of very active groups, and there's some kind of a spirit, a special spirit when it's an isolated area, and when there's such a clear borders around the islands, meaning the sea, of course, it gives a very interesting platform for activities. I wanted to ask in the morning that what you thought was the kind of the reason for succeeding in your projects towards the zero carbon butte, but I think one thing is linked to the fact that it's an island. There's something about that. It's kind of a miniature society, and I think that's one reason why also in Åland there's a lot of very active projects going on, and it's a very interesting case. But of course, there are the challenges that we all know, and one thing that gives also the kind of an interesting platform is the fragile environment, that where you clearly see right away what are the consequences of your actions. But so there are the different themes, and I may be bringing only some ideas linking to different themes that can be considered, giving the kind of wide perspective. Food system. We have been discussing about fishing, for example. Generally, the sustainable farming practices are, on a general level, are very important part, and we need to find new solutions and get these new nutrient products to the markets, so that we would not have the nutrient problem. That is maybe the most important question linking to the circular economy and food sector. So that we would not, and also that we would not end up with the food waste. So we need to kind of take care so that we would not have the waste and the waste problem from our activities. But the local food rings, also the new technology has offered new opportunities for food rings that have been there for quite a long time, but nowadays it's a complete new story when there's different types of services where you can order your food, and you can order different types of products very easily also to the remote areas. One problem is, of course, the logistics, so that we would find logistic solutions so that there would there would be some kind of a combination of transportation and logistics to the remote areas and to the distance. And for example, public procurement of food. I know that in Parainen, for example, there's already very good examples on how you can purchase from the near distance when it's a municipality where it doesn't make sense to to take all the fruit products from the mainland to the islands. But it is very difficult to find the cost-efficient way. Farm-scale symbiosis, we have those very intriguing examples of, for example, combining fishing, fish farming, and greenhouses, and symbiosis where the water and the nutrients cycle through the whole system. But of course, it can be taken even further, and these kind of solutions need to be we need more of those solutions. And also one fact is that we need to restore the forests. Even in Finland, we need to get more food from the less. We can't have more fields to produce more food. We need to have more food from the same area or even smaller area, because because the nutrient flows to the waters from forests or from the fields. And there are new technology on how to cultivate more efficiently in layers, for example, and those very interesting technologies can help also the food chain and bring new products. Building is one sector that circular economy is in the very, very beginning. I must say that is still, when talking about circular economy and buildings, we are still talking about waste management. There are so many other possibilities that could be used when talking about buildings through the whole life cycle of the building. There are new materials, recycled materials, for example, both to the building and the infrastructure. We need to see buildings as multifunctional spaces, so that the building, it's easy to use the building for very different purposes by different groups through intelligent locks, for example, and so on. Smart energy system, so that the building can be kind of an producer of energy as well as the consumer of energy, so that we can, for example, take the waste heat and restore it more efficiently. Of course, these technologies, they are already there, but there's a lot more that could be done when thinking about a building as an entity. I have just one interesting example on material reuse, on how to in Uutö, where there was a new dock built from the side stone of nearby company. These are concrete examples, but we need much more, and we need to have those volumes of stones, for example, used in a nearby building sites. But also that needs the new technology so that all those materials are found and they are not lost in the value chain. Energy issues, all in all, it's about the decentralized energy production, so that there are all these new technologies that need to be considered from the perspective of each area, of what kind of biomaterial, for example, is there so that it can be used efficiently, what kind of cooperation is needed, for example, to get more, for example, biogas solutions. Solar energy is developing and becoming more cost efficient, and so on. I think one thing that is extremely interesting when talking about archipelago is the mobility and logistics, and what kind of solutions the digital platforms could bring to archipelago, where the conditions are slightly challenging, and the shared vehicles solutions, for example, I hope that it was nice to hear, for example, about that detail of your presentation, and I hope that we get those examples more. We have had a very wide project run by VTT in Finland in different areas concerning mobility as a service in rural areas, and now that project is going further at a national level, and I hope it brings very concrete solutions, because in that project there has been a combination, for example, different types of mobility needs, school kids, people going to the doctor, people going, elderly people, for example, needing food products from shops, and all those combined. And there's a lot of legislative barriers at the moment, but though if those legislative barriers are taken care of, it's a long way, but there is absolutely very good solutions that technologically are already there, but they need a wide cooperation of different public sector actors and companies, and also other actors. But I think that's absolutely one possibility that gives new strength for islands and other remote areas to be locations that people want to live and have better possibilities to also work there, and to transport also materials. And as a horizontal idea, the procurement of public procurement is the horizontal theme that is linked to all others. We need, for example, nutrient cycling to be a part of the procurement criteria. We need more training for food producers, for example, to offer and to develop their products so that they use the sustainable farming methods, and also through those they are stronger partners in public procurement. We need enhanced market dialogue so that the public sector knows about the solutions that are offered by the companies and the new technology. And also we need market dialogue so that the companies themselves, they find new partners and new cooperation ideas. But also through procurement we could bring up new innovative examples that are especially suitable for sparsely populated areas, meaning, for example, new small-scale energy solutions, new water solutions, toilet solutions, new solutions to grow your own food on small scale, and and also new solutions for mobility and transport and so on. And kind of couple of ideas that are all the time there, kind of reminding of themselves, are the people, for example, in the public office. The technology is developing fast, and it is quite a challenge to find the new technology and the solutions at a municipal level, how to procure and how to find them, and how to take the risk of using some kind of a new solutions, how to take kind of the bold new way for our municipality to go on. They need training and they need perspective, and the resources for all this is often not there. So it is needed. Then the circular economy in the school world, and not only about the recycling. So many times when we talk about circular economy, it's about the recycling, and it is not about that. It's about new ways of thinking of how we live, how we build our future, our society, and that needs to be there in the school world as well. And the kids are smart. They come up with good solutions. That's for sure, better than ourselves. And also one challenge all the time there is how to get people, just normal people minding their own business, find their link to all this. What is my role? How am I part of the energy system, for example? How is the energy production system linked to me? It's not only the switching off the lights. What else? How am I linked to the food system other than eating the food? And how could I, for example, be a part of the mobility system to be, for example, offering my car to the use of others? Or how could I not be owning a car but be a part of a sharing community, for example? And how can I be an active member of the future society? And all ways of participation and co-creation are building that strength and that understanding. So, that. Thank you.